The mysterious world of the prehistoric deep sea, a hidden life in the darkness. Hundreds of meters below the surface, where darkness prevails and immense pressure bears down, it seems impossible for anything to survive. Yet prehistoric oceans concealed a rich ecosystem filled with strange creatures and astounding survival stories. Join us as we dive into this deep, dark world, a kingdom where organisms quietly lived, hunted, and evolved in absolute darkness millions of years ago. When we think of prehistoric times, we often imagine massive dinosaurs on land or terrifying sea monsters. On the ocean's surface, creatures like the mosasaur, a massive marine reptile with a long, sleek body and sharp teeth, and giant, powerful sharks ruled fearfully over these waters. But if you dive deeper, beyond the reach of sunlight, you'll find a completely different world. A kingdom shrouded in mystery and nearly impossible to access, where light never reaches and photosynthesis doesn't occur. This harsh environment seems uninhabitable, yet life not only survived, but also thrived, with strange and unique creatures adapting to extreme conditions. 1. The battle for survival in the deep sea. In these deep waters, creatures had to find unique ways to survive. With no sunlight to provide energy, these life forms couldn't rely on the sun and had to find alternative nutrient sources. From tiny fish to highly specialized organisms, the creatures of the deep evolved to take full advantage of the scarce organic material falling from above. Most of them depended on detritus from dead organisms sinking from the surface, forming what's known as marine snow. Tiny particles of organic material from algae, plankton, and even the waste of sea life above. Occasionally, however, life in the deep hits the jackpot when a massive whale or another large creature dies and sinks to the sea floor. This arrival of a large carcass creates a phenomenon known as a whale fall, where the entire deep-sea ecosystem benefits from this rich source of nutrition. During these moments, creatures like clams, snails, worms, and others swarm to take advantage of the valuable nutrients. This unique occurrence fosters a short-term ecosystem where different levels of organisms take their share, creating a fascinating natural hierarchy on the ocean floor. 2. The mystery of Osedax worms. The zombie worms. One of the most extraordinary creatures involved in the whale fall phenomenon is the Osedax worm, commonly known as the zombie worm. These worms have an entirely unique way of living. They do not consume flesh or fat like other organisms. Instead, they survive solely by breaking down bone, absorbing any remaining nutrients from the marrow of these massive deceased creatures. With the help of symbiotic bacteria, Osedax can attach to bones and break down compounds to sustain themselves. From afar, these colonies of Osedax look like clusters of soft red threads, gently swaying in the currents. A beautiful but strange sight. Remarkably, the Osedax worm was only discovered in 2002. However, genetic studies reveal that it has a long evolutionary history, likely originating in the Cretaceous period, long before whales existed. This discovery led scientists to propose the theory that Osedax once relied on the bones of other large creatures, possibly massive marine reptiles like plesiosaurs or mosasaurs. These marine reptiles dominated the oceans during the time of the dinosaurs, and when they died, their carcasses sank to the seafloor, providing nourishment for creatures like Osedax. Scientists have even found distinctive marks on plesiosaur bones and ancient sea turtle fossils that match the traces Osedax worms create on modern whale bones. 3. The experiment of sinking carcasses and surprising discoveries. To learn more about deep-sea organisms' lives, scientists have conducted unique experiments by sinking whale and even alligator carcasses to the seafloor. In the Gulf of Mexico, 3 alligator carcasses were dropped into the sea, and in a short period, deep-sea organisms had consumed all their flesh, leaving only bare bones. Upon closer examination, scientists found that the red fuzz covering the alligator bones was a completely new species of Osedax worm, likely evolved specifically to feed on reptilian bones instead of whale bones. This discovery further supports the theory that Osedax existed long before whales and initially relied on marine reptiles. This also suggests a new potential food source that sustained Osedax during the millions of years when large marine creatures slowly disappeared and whales had not yet evolved. 4. prehistoric marine reptiles adapted for deep-sea diving. Aside from Osedax worms, some ancient marine reptiles could dive deep to hunt, a remarkable evolutionary development for prehistoric times. The Ophthalmosaurus, a deep-sea predator, had massive eyes that enabled it to see in darkness, allowing it to hunt at depths beyond most creatures' reach. Its eyes were larger than those of any other known vertebrate, helping it adapt to the deep-sea conditions of the Jurassic period. Another example is the Phosphorosaurus, a small mosasaur roughly the size of a crocodile. This creature had large eyes and a distinctive skull shape, making it well-suited for seeing in the darkness of the seafloor. In the same area where Phosphorosaurus fossils were found, scientists also discovered lanternfish fossils. Modern lanternfish are primarily deep-sea dwellers. This supports the theory that this small mosasaur was a formidable predator in the depths. 5. Abasosaurus and evidence of deep diving abilities. Perhaps the most well-adapted marine reptile for deep-sea life was Abasosaurus, a member of the Cryptoclididae plesiosaur group. Abasosaurus had large eyes, a robust skull, and body structures indicating an ability to withstand the high pressures of the deep sea and the extended dark winters of the Arctic. The features of its skull and circulatory system suggest that Abasosaurus may have developed a unique vascular system to reduce pressure when diving, similar to what we observe in modern deep-diving animals like sperm whales. Abasosaurus fossils have been found in the Arctic, suggesting that these creatures survived and thrived in these extreme conditions over 130 million years ago. During that period, the Arctic had a warmer climate with no ice, and these marine reptiles likely evolved to dive deep, hunting where no sunlight penetrated. Evolution seems to have selected the ideal features for them to adapt to the cold, dark depths of the Arctic seas, allowing them to survive for millions of years. 6. The challenge of studying the prehistoric deep sea. Despite scientific advancements, studying the prehistoric deep sea remains a formidable challenge. At these depths, the harsh environment and low oxygen levels make fossilization nearly impossible, as many deep-sea creatures are soft-bodied and easily consumed entirely. With such limited resources, everything from dead organisms to tiny debris is fully recycled, reducing the likelihood of fossil remains. This scarcity makes the prehistoric deep sea all the more intriguing. What little remains we find are only tiny pieces of a much larger picture. Yet each new fossil discovery provides valuable clues, opening a gateway to the deep-sea world of millions of years ago. Scientists continue their quest to put together the pieces of this mysterious realm, a place where darkness and pressure couldn't prevent life from thriving and evolving. Conclusion: a world full of mystery and remarkable adaptation. The prehistoric deep sea tells a miraculous story of life and extraordinary adaptability. From zombie worms that feed on whale bones to giant marine reptiles with unimaginable diving abilities, each species contributes to a vivid picture of biological diversity thriving in the harshest conditions. Our knowledge of the prehistoric deep sea is still limited, but the journey of discovery goes on, with each new finding bringing us closer to the mysteries buried in the ocean's depths. A kingdom of darkness awaiting our exploration. If you enjoyed this deep dive, consider sharing it and hitting like to help uncover more exciting mysteries of the prehistoric deep sea. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories about the incredible creatures and ancient history of our planet.